What am I supposed to do with frozen frogs?
Why, suck on them, of course.
You're insane, aren't you?
That's right.
Hey, you geeks! This week we are diving into a new topic or angle on analyzing Brandon Sanderson's writing, and that is the writing itself and how we can use it to become better writers. Brandon Sanderson is known for his iconic rules of magic system, but if you aren't writing fantasy or maybe want to take your fantasy to a next level, we should really look at how Sanderson creates character types, when he takes archetypes and knows when to play them straight or subvert them for the good of the plot. One particular archetype that he uses to a T is what I call the psycho in charge of plot, or plot psycho. To explain this, I am going to take examples from various Cosmere books as well as popular movies and shows. Spoiler warning for all the above. As we look at the plot psycho, we will first get a general idea of their character type, then explore how each of their defining attributes contributes to the plot, and see the general rules for deploying them as heroes or villains. And then look at how Sanderson breaks almost all the rules in his most divisive and successful character of Kelsier. What is a plot psycho? I've been toying with this concept since my Well of Ascension review so long ago.
Zane. Like Kelsier in The Final Empire, Zane is the insane character who sets the timetable in this book.
When I complained that Sanderson was putting too many of his plots in the hands of literarily crazy people. Then I stuck around BookTube for a few years and learned that actually everyone does this. From Tolkien to Dostoevsky to Irving Berlin.
Miss Haynes, if you're ever under a falling building and somebody runs up and offers to pick you up and carry you to safety, don't think, don't pause, don't hesitate a moment. Just spit in his eye.
Okay, well, not every story has one. I don't think Pride and Prejudice does. Plot psychos can still show up in any story, regardless of genre or what side of the conflict they're on. And for this video, they are Sanderson's bread and butter. Plot psychos seem to appear quite regularly in epic fantasy. Every main character in The Wheel of Time and A Song of Ice and Fire, I think, gets their own turn at being a plot psycho at least once in their series. Well, Brandon Sanderson seems to limit it to just one or two per Cosmere book. In the Stormlight Archive, Taravangian reigns as supreme plot psycho of probably the entire Cosmere. Their popularity in epic fantasy I trace back to J.R.R. Tolkien's exquisite use of Saruman in Lord of the Rings. From Saruman all the way up to Taravangian, I've traced three key attributes that truly make a plot psycho. First is that they must have an ambitious, straightforward goal. Taravangian wants to save Roshar, and Saruman wants the ring.
Against the power of Mordor, there can be no victory.
Second, to achieve this goal, the plot psycho must develop an elaborate, secretive, somewhat unreasonable plan. Taravangian creates the diagram, and Saruman develops an unnamed plan of regional domination involving Uruk-hai. Third, implementing this plan is what creates the rising tension throughout the second act of the story. In Words of Radiance, Taravangian directly orders Szeth to kill Dalinar, and indirectly allows Graves to try and kill Elhokar, which pretty much make up all of the plot problems Kaladin and Dalinar have for that book and going forward. In Oathbringer, Taravangian doubles down to square off with Dalinar over the fate of the Alliance, and even succeeds in breaking the Alliance up just in time for Odium to attack. Saruman hampers the Fellowship every step of the way, directly leading to Gandalf's death and the breaking of the Fellowship itself.
What if we hold true to each other? We will not abandon Merry and Pippin to torment and death.
Then his regional control over Rohan and Fangorn is what keeps Aragorn and company busy for the entirety of the Two Towers. Although not required for a plot psycho, Saruman and Taravangian both have an extra wrinkle, where they present themselves at first as a secondary antagonist to Odium and Sauron respectively, but in the end it's what the plot psychos do. Taravangian kills original Odium, and Saruman takes over the Shire in the books that actually injures our protagonists in ways that they will never recover from. Since Taravangian has now ascended to be the new primary antagonist of the Stormlight Archive, I do wonder if there will arise a new plot psycho to make up the plot in the back five. Psychos in action. Let's examine how Sanderson deploys them for maximum efficiency by going one attribute at a time. First, they need a lofty yet understandable goal.
What's in it for you?
45 minutes, all to myself.
Sanderson does this very effectively in Elantris with the opening line of Plot Psycho Hrathen's perspective. None of Arelon's people greeted their savior when he arrived. Hrathen's goal was always simple: save Arelon. How he achieved that goal got more and more convoluted as the story went on, but that was also due to Sereni's influence. Sereni is a great protagonist who is proactive yet falls short of a pure plot psycho. Although all active characters need goals, it is essential for the plot psycho's goal to be simple and easily understood by the audience. The one with the plan to steal the man. What inspired this video, I believe in hindsight, was that Zane, the plot psycho of Well of Ascension, did not have a clearly established goal. Even the Coppermind is like... Several times throughout their fight, Zane repeated that Vin was supposed to save him, presumably from his insanity and Ruin's voice. We should not have to presume what a plot psycho's goal is. Knowing that goal allows the audience to put even a twisted sort of logic behind their actions and empathize with the character on that level. Without a goal, I can't do this. Let me know if you can down in the comments. Second, they must make an elaborate secret plan. Now, most characters with plot momentum will have goals, and they will work to achieve those goals, sometimes making a plan. And to maintain suspense and enjoyment factors, that plan, if successful, will usually be somewhat secret from the audience.
Let's go over the plan.
No. Are you kidding? Have you ever seen a movie where they do a heist? You cannot go over the plan. Something is guaranteed to go wrong.
That's not how reality works.
But to be a plot psycho's plan, it must go above and beyond what the audience and their fellow characters view as reasonable. No one really thinks that Suit Wax's uncle is like clinically insane. But when you hear his plan to fake his own death, send a bunch of comic book villains to deal with his nephew, also that his niece can maybe ascend to godhood and get global domination, the audience is gonna go...
You serious?
But it will also be thrilling as that plan almost succeeds and scares the protagonist.
You're mad.
Thank goodness for that, because if I wasn't, this would probably never work.
Thirdly, that plan must create intermediate tension throughout the plot. This is where we distinguish between our Heinz Doofenshmirtzes and our Bluefingers or Palpatine. Heinz Doofenshmirtz makes,
Anyway, let me show you my evil plan. I call it the copy and pastinator.
But then he sends the entire second act dropping exposition. Bluefingers, on the other hand, uses his time to drop key whispered cryptic messages to our protagonist Ciri, moving her into his plan. Bluefingers glanced about nervously. "Am I really in danger from them?" Ciri asked. He met her eyes, then nodded sharply. "More danger than you know, Vessel." Then he backed away, gesturing at the doorway. Just as Palpatine did to Padme, then to Anakin.
They see your future. They know your power will be too strong to control. You must break through the fog of lies the Jedi have created around you.
Hero or villain? In Sanderson books, plot psychos are usually villains or at least antagonistic to our primary protagonist. Sanderson limits their POV, makes their plan super elaborate and mostly successful to make truly intimidating villains. While Taravangian has been the Stormlight Archive's primary plot psycho throughout the first 4 books, there have always been 1 or 2 plot psychos operating beneath him, such as Sadius and Raboniel. In Sadius's case, we were told his goal very early in the story, to make Alethkar a strong nation, same as Dalinar, so they should get along great. Except the depths of Sadius's plan to achieve this through destroying Dalinar by whatever means possible is gradually revealed. We see Sadius ostracize Dalinar from the other High Princes, then clear him of any wrongdoing with the strap incident to gain trust. "All evidence points to your father being innocent, Adolin," Sadius said sufferingly. "You find this surprising?" "No, but..." Adolin's brow furrowed. Dalinar's officers remained standing behind him, as if expecting a surprise strike. "Blood of my fathers," Dalinar thought. "What does it mean?" Then Sadius built trust through those joint plateau assaults, perfectly positioning Dalinar for the ultimate betrayal. It's the sort of plan that wouldn't seem reasonable to the protagonist and therefore not the audience, but in truth...
I like it. It's sneaky, and it just might work.
And that is what makes a plot psycho such a great villain. Though they can be protagonists. Not often in Cosmere books, because Cosmere books are not often comedies, let alone romantic comedies, which seem to be another prevalent genre for plot psychos to flourish. Usually as the protagonist or the protagonist's friend who has a great, crazy idea to get the couple together.
This is the plan? Are you crazy? This will never work!
However, there is a modern derivation in Pirates of the Caribbean where Captain Jack just wants his ship back and is willing to unite the couple along the way.
One question about your business, boy. There's no use going. Let's go. How far are you willing to go to save her? I'd die for her. Oh, good. Now, where is he?
The Princess Bride takes another tack on this trope by giving us 2 plot psychos, one of whom is the love interest himself, and that is where Sanderson hops aboard the plot psycho protagonist train in Tress of the Emerald Sea, making Huck our resident plot psycho. Perhaps you're wondering why Huck had so quickly fallen in with Tress. Well, there are a lot of things I could say here, but suffice it to say that in the short life of Huck the Rat, but he did like Tress. He would rather she not die, so spying it was. Although Sanderson doesn't make us explicitly aware of Huck's true identity the first time through, the audience is still able to enjoy his machinations unfolding to try and save and support Tress somewhat against her will. And then we get to watch them with mixture of sadness and schadenfreude as it all falls apart in the second act. Betrayal, she asked? Is that emotion the same for both human and rat? So far as I can tell, he said, his voice growing very soft. I'm sorry, Tress. I can't let you face the sorceress. I can't. For your own good, you see. Despite his betrayal, we don't hate Huck because his plan failed, and it was fun to watch unfold anyway. Not to mention, no one really got hurt. Likewise in The Princess Bride, despite Wesley being rumored to have killed multiple people, he doesn't kill anyone on screen, not even the villain. So, by the third act, when all is revealed, all can be forgiven because we get a happy ending.
Since the invention of the kiss, there have been 5 kisses that were rated the most passionate, the most pure. This one left them all behind.
That, along with small stakes and a low body count, are what makes the plot psycho protagonist role work so well, especially in comedies when we can laugh at their crazy antics. But Sanderson gives us the exception in Kelsier, the Breaker of Rules. Kelsier's character type has broad stroke similarities to the romantic comedy plot psycho protagonist bestie, but he has a bit of a bigger goal in mind. Before we end for the evening, however, Kelsier continued, there is one more part of the plan I want to warn you about. More? Breeze asked with a chuckle. Stealing the Lord Ruler's fortune and overthrowing his empire aren't enough? No, Kelsier said. If I can, I'm gonna kill him too. And of course, his method for achieving this lofty goal is to become a god himself, logically. And of course, this little detail isn't explained overtly to his friends or the audience until after he's dead and the plan is well in motion. This is what puts his plan into pure plot psycho territory. Not to mention, with hindsight, we can see how Kelsier himself was creating the rising stakes in the middle part, or getting involved in house politics, starting fights, and causing a bunch of good guys to get killed because of his delusions of grandeur. Me, Kelsier thought, this is my fault. He'd promised them supernatural aid. He'd set himself up. He'd made Yeadon a part of the crew, and had talked so casually about doing the impossible. Was it any wonder that Yeadon had thought he could attack the Final Empire head-on, considering the confidence Kelsier had given him? The man has a huge on-screen death count, including many supposed good guys. Not to mention, he's opposed to the romantic relationship between Vin and Ellen anyway. So, by the rules, we should not like this guy. And I still struggle to. It's me. Hi, I'm the problem, it's me. However, I have realized what makes his exception work while watching What Else? RRR, and its amazing plot psycho of Raju Rama. Raju, like Kelsier, uses a lot of on-screen violence of good guys. However, it's explained through his tragic backstory. Kelsier gets captured by the Lord Ruler and then watches his wife die in a horrific fashion before snapping, while Raju has to see all of his family die and ends up shooting his own father himself. Second, and most importantly, both characters are charismatic AF. I cannot express it in any lesser terms. Kelsier can charm a group of starving peasants after he's informed them that he has taken away their livelihood. By men like you, Lord Kelsier, a woman whispered, but not by us. You'd be surprised, Kelsier said as the crowd began to make way for parents bringing their children forward. It seemed like everyone in the room wanted their sons to meet Kelsier personally. And Raju can dance. And of course, I like Raju more than Kelsier because Raju is actually a supportive wingman to Beam in his romantic endeavors, and it's so cute! The ultimate charm of a protagonist plot psycho is so crucial that Sanderson even makes a point of including it for Charlie in Tress of the Emerald Sea. He wasn't a good liar, but that was part of what Tress liked about him. Charlie was genuine. He even lied in an authentic way, and seeing how bad he was at telling them, the lies couldn't be held against him. They were so obvious. They were better than many a person's truths. Thus, when you are writing stories or dissecting them, look for the plot psychos. See how they're used, and see how it affects your level of enjoyment. Let me know your particularly favorite plot psycho that I did not mention in the comment section below. Otherwise, like, share, and subscribe if you want to see more. Thanks for watching. Bye!